preparing this like presentation that you do, I would say 95% of my work is like all behind the scenes. It's preparing things so that when they walk in the classroom that they can work by themselves. So that's a shift. And that took a little while. At first you thought, why am I really still teaching? You kind of felt funny because you didn't feel like you were, you talked to them in short intervals instead of, but in reality they don't listen for 30 minutes and we know that. So that's kind of silly to think that that was great anyway. So I think the shift to behind the scenes. And once I learned the software, then that became easier. And then I was like, okay, I got this. And then I kind of got the hang of rotating the groups and figuring out how to do groups and coming up with different ways to do it. When I first do a lesson, I might do I had to do like a pre-assessment. And honestly, that was new for me. I just taught whatever came up next. I didn't do a pre-assessment to see where they were, to be honest, so that was new. So I did a pre-assessment, so then from there I kind of grouped, and then I realized the kids moved themselves, and so then I needed to adjust. Okay, so just because the pre-assessment came out this way, this kid works faster or slower, and then I had to kind of adjust. And then I kind of learned different ways to group. And I think I've gotten better at that. But that took a little development and figuring out how to. And then sometimes you'd go, "Ooh, this was not a good group. I didn't plan well with this group today." and then you look at personalities of kids and where they're at developmentally and math and all that combined and who can kind of interact with each other. And then that was really kind of the first semester. And I was kind of like, okay, I was feeling better. Of course, Pamela challenges us. So next challenge was, okay, we've kind of got that part implemented. We're using the software. We're doing small station groups. I'm kind of getting used to sitting. I like to walk around. So that was kind of hard for me to learn to sit, actually, at a table. And they'll come to me instead of me going to them as much. And then this semester, it's kind of clicked for me. I mean, I'm a little slow. So I understood theoretically what to do with all this data, but I was still overwhelmed with the data, and I didn't know how to process it or what am I supposed to do with it. And you're like going, oh, this is great information. Now what do I do with all these 1,000 numbers and all these children? And how do I relate that to my lesson? And that was a little tricky for me. And so finally kind of looking at it, and I guess really the last time we did map stuff, I just decided, I kept trying to look at it and I kept getting interrupted, so I finally asked for a day and I was like, okay. So I looked at data and just crunched numbers literally from 6:30 to like 4 one day at my kitchen table at home. I didn't go to school, I stayed home. And I was like, okay, I kind of get this. And then because I kind of like that kind of stuff, I'm like, ooh, there's patterns everywhere and there's numbers. And so then I started looking at kids, and then now I'm kind of working on that part of the aspect, being truly data driven, not just from a pretest of sorting children into groups, but actually where do they really need it. I knew they had holes, and now I have proof that they have holes. And so that's also overwhelming because I'm like, I can't fill all the holes and teach my 4th grade stuff. So that sort of stresses me out a little bit because I'm like, I don't know how to get to all of these things. And now I thought they were there, and now I have proof that they're there. And so now I'm kind of overwhelmed as a teacher, like, well, I don't know how to fix all this. And I don't think I can, and that bothers me. I can try. I can do what I can, but that's a little frustrating. And every once in a while, I talk to Amy. I was like, well, I don't know how to do this because look. And then I had stuff that showed up on my list, and I know I taught it, and then I traced those teaks to these teaks, and it's just like a domino effect. And so then I tried to do the goals. And so from the data, based on the data, now I'm setting goals. And so like if they didn't pass their last multiplication test, and we've been working on that since August, we talked about, okay, your plan's not working, so let's make a new plan. So we did it as a group. What kind of plan could we do? So I gave them steps to do. We made a SMART goal plan, and I sent it home, had the parents sign it, and we put it in our folder, and we put a monitor sheet, and I'm like, okay, because we need to do something different because we're still being unsuccessful. And here's my level. That's not acceptable to be that at this point. So how are we going to get here? And so we had a whole conversation about that. And so I'm trying to do the SMART goals based on data, not what we think. Here's proof. Here's proof of, and I think that made a difference to the kids. Like you can say you don't know, like, okay, look, well, this is what you need to do, and let's check it off. Okay, if you didn't, you have no check marks. So how do you think your result's going to be? And so we're going to base that, and I'm going to see how that works. And then I'm working on the intervention with the data, and that's kind of exciting, and I just can't keep up. Like, I've got kids that have already finished the whole category because they're like, oh, because we had this whole lesson of our leaky roof, Swiss cheese, and they got it like you knew only 80%. So you were on 80 honor roll. That's cool. You made a B. That's awesome. What is that? What happened to the 20% you didn't know? Mm-hmm. Oh, I have a hole. And then one kid, interesting, they said, well, I made beads every year, so I have a big hole. And I'm like, so, I mean, they kind of got it. And so they bought into the fact that they need to do those clipboards and time focus read box. And they realize the more they do, the more powerful, that's my whole power method, the more strong they can have a stronger foundation. And they bought into that. And so I can't keep up with giving them clipboards because they're going really fast.